To assist priests in their role as confessors, there's an excellent little book by Metropolitan Anthony Krabovitsky, who was the first primate of the Russian Orthodox Church outside Russia and who reposed in the Lord in 1936. The book is simply called Confession, and though it's written to help priests hear confession and give guidance, it's very useful for us all in our understanding of our sins and passions and how to approach confession. In chapter 12, he focuses on pride, and all of us may benefit from his insights. First, Metropolitan Anthony notes that those who suffer from anger must understand that it's often rooted in pride. In fact, he says, anger itself rarely exists as an independent passion, but is the result of our inability to satisfy some other passion. Through reflection on ourselves, we may come to see when and why we're becoming angry, and so identify the passion lurking behind it. Many of us have learned to conceal our passions. We know that avarice or lust will be frowned upon if we make them visible. But anger is the involuntary sign that these passions live within us when circumstances deny them. With regards to pride itself, Metropolitan Anthony notes that we live in a world where pride is no longer a fall or seen as a stumbling for many people, but has become their constant state. And we may add to this, I suppose, that especially in the 21st century, our children are being educated to take pride in themselves, and we dress it up as self-esteem and self-worth. But Metropolitan Anthony warns us that in reality there is no good or noble form of pride. Every form of pride is repugnant to God. To suppose otherwise, Metropolitan Anthony describes as a spiritual blindness, warning us that every kind of pride, every kind, is demonic. If we do not consider it a sin, how can we ever hope to be freed from it? Let's think of the example of Christ, the example of the apostles, all the martyrs through the ages who suffered scorn and ridicule. Who amongst us today would not be tempted to defend his own name, defend his honour, demand to be treated with at least a little respect? How alien and dangerous this may sound to many modern ears. The more we react against it, the deeper we know the philosophy and ethics of the world have penetrated us. Metropolitan Anthony identifies two forms of pride: vainglory and spiritual pride. He says the first is easier to spot. When we seek after or desire praise from others, then we know it's present. But spiritual pride is more dangerous because it's harder to recognize. When we become confident in our virtues, in our good actions, in our kindness, our tremendous prayer life or closeness to God, all of us may have fleeting thoughts of recognition when we catch ourselves doing something good. All of us may be tempted when we seek to serve God. Perhaps God has blessed us to sing well in the choir, or we've donated a large sum of money to the church or to charity, or visited the sick, and so on. This is where we must be careful. Bring the feelings to our confessor. Scrutinize them. Because sensitive and thoughtful people may be tempted by the demons to abandon their good works for the sake of avoiding such poisonous thoughts, such proud thoughts. Metropolitan Anthony tells us we should brush such thoughts aside, give them no second thought, but continue to seek to serve God as well as we can. Troubling thoughts like these are a common problem for many people. If you suffer from them, know that you are not alone in this. There's an example quoted by Father Maximus of Mount Athos. He says, think about the aeroplanes in the sky. They fly everywhere, even over Mount Athos. But on the Holy Mountain, there's no runway built for them to land on, so they must keep flying over. So too, let us dismiss troubling thoughts as unworthy of our attention. Give them no place to land. Father Maximus says that on Mount Athos, monks are told, do not think about such thoughts, and do not think about thinking about such thoughts. Do not struggle with them. Brush them away like flies. Don't engage with them. Let us then look closely at ourselves, acknowledging our pride and rejecting it. Let us seek forgiveness from those we've offended. Let us avoid always wanting to dominate or be right. Let our hearts soften and accept that our will does not have to be done. Let us bear the ill will of others with love. And let us remember, it was pride that brought Satan down from heaven.